Hello, Facebook. So today I would like to talk a little bit about commercial claims. And I'm not going to go over the sale. There's a lot of people that will teach you and give you experience about the sales aspect. In my opinion, is no different than a residential claim. Finding those resources, there's a lot of people that will teach you. But what I'm going to talk about is how to get them approved. Okay? Now, when you're dealing with commercial flat in that aspect, the commercial flat roofs, you have to do it a little differently. And it's the same with shingles when you're dealing with commercial land. Now, myself, when I go after commercial roofs, it's important for me to understand the codes of the area. If I'm dealing with a flat roof, how many layers can I have up on that roof? Am I dealing with an EPDM? Am I dealing with a TPO? Am I dealing with modified? Understanding that product first. If I'm dealing with TPO or EPDM, depends on the severity of the hail. I'm looking for a spider web on the top. Also, when I'm doing these roof inspections, I'm feeling the product itself, looking for dimples into the insulation board, the ISO board underneath. So I'm trying to find my damages. And it's always not visible on the top. That's why you have to rub the roof surface to feel if the insulation has been impacted. If the insulation has been impacted, that has lessened the R value of that product by making that insulation thinner. Now, of course, you want to cut that open and always have your product there to reseal that roof, but you want to be able to look at the bottom side of that commercial roof, and you also want to be able to see the damage to the ISO board or the insulation underneath. That's letting you know. If I got insulation damage, but the upper roof isn't damaged, the insulation is damaged because the R factor has been diminished. The only way for me to fix that is by replacing the insulation. If I'm dealing with 2 layers of a roofing system and I have a modified, what's up, Joe? And I have a modified, there's a technique you can use. Most municipalities, when it does with code, doesn't allow more than 2 layers or 2 roofing systems on a roof. So I might play a little devil's advocate with the adjuster. I might go for a simple sale that makes the adjuster feel like they're winning. I might go with the coating. Talk the adjuster and say, hey, you know what? Let's not, all right, Joe. Sorry, I was just reading what he wrote. But let's say I don't want to argue because I know it's harder to get the full roof bought at the beginning. So what I'm going to do is agree to a coating, do an elastomeric coating on the roof. Now, the key with this system is that is considered a roof system in itself. So once I get it approved for an elastomeric coating, I'm then going to do my build contract, pick up my first check, because I don't want the customer going squirrely on me. I'm going to get my build contract, pick up the first check, and then I'm going to file my supplement. And when I file my supplement, it's going to include the codes as about double layers. I have more than 2 roofing systems on here. The roof coating is considered a third system, and by code, I can't do that. That kicks in law and ordinance, and that gets the roof replaced. Now, when I'm doing that, I am going to hire an engineer because I'm not just going to do my own core sample. Now, SVG does offer a product where you can get engineering reports done relatively inexpensively, but you need that. Somebody else to be able to document that core sample to prove that there's more than 2 roofing systems or 2 roofing systems on that roof. And by having that, it's important. Another thing that you should do before you file a supplement, besides getting the build contract, so the carrier can't go, I got a managed repair program contractor that will do this cheaper. You lock them in under contract. Now, when I'm filing, before I file my supplement, I also want to review the policy. Now, legally, the only way that I can review the policy is to have my power of attorney or my assignment of claim, because I'm going to review that policy to make sure that there is a law and ordinance coverage on that claim, on that policy. If they don't have it, I'm going to be screwed. I can try to file it through litigation and win that way, but if they don't have law and ordinance, and this is actually something you should check before you go for your quoting setup, is that they have law and ordinance. Because if they don't, then you want to skip the coatings trial. and the coatings procedure of getting the roof approved. But if they do have law and ordinance, when you file your supplement, you're going to include the engineer's report, and it's a simple one. It's not one on damage. We don't need to prove damage. What the engineer's report is basically going to be is a licensed official in that area, which is an engineer, signing off that there are two or more layers on this roof, and then they're going to recite the code that has to do that only 2 layers are allowed to be on this roof, and the coating is a 3rd layer. Okay? So you got to do your research first before you meet the adjuster. Have the assignment of claim or power of attorney. You can get them anywhere, or you can join the NIRC. But first have that so you can legally review the policy. Check it for law and ordinance. If they have law and ordinance, when you meet the adjuster on a modified roof, go for coating. And then hit them with the engineer's report. There's already 2 layers. Coating is a 3rd layer. That kicks in law and ordinance. They have to pay the full roof. Another example that you can do before you file your supplement is to go ahead and file your permit for your building permit. Even if you are not required to get a roofing permit, that does not mean you can't get one. So when you file for your roofing permit, every municipality has a form that you can file for a review on that permit. And what you want to ask for is a permission to go against county code. You supply them the engineer's report stating that there's already 2 layers, that the roofing, elastomeric coating, is considered a 3rd roofing system. And you're asking the building department to please review your permit application for going against code. When you file your permit in the review, you want to ask to be part of that review, because you want to tell the building department to fail you on code. Because when you file your supplement, you're going to have your permit failed because it's against code. You're going to have the engineer's simple report confirming 2 or more layers, and that elastomeric coating is a 3rd layer. And you're also going to submit the portion of the policy that says they have law and ordinance. Now they have to buy the full roof. Another example, flat roof. EPDM, doesn't matter what it is. EPDM, TPO, modified. If you know the roof has leaks, okay, and you're dealing with a flat roof, and they want to do patches, or they want to do a coating, or you've talked them into the coating, because in the insurance mind, that is a more cost-effective way to do the roof, right? So if you know there's moisture under the roof, after you get them to agree to the coating, you're going to follow the same premises as I just explained in the coating, but you're going to do an additional step when you file for your permit and when you file your supplement. You're going to call a moisture company to come out and do a moisture test, okay? Because part of the code is you cannot do any type of roofing system or coating if the underlying insulation is wet. Then you can also, after you prove that there's moisture under there, you can call your coatings manufacturer. They will send out a rep as well. Or if you already have the moisture test done, it's possible you can send that to them. And your manufacturer of the coating will also state in their letters that they do not recommend doing a coating on a roofing system that has moisture underneath, because that moisture will percolate and it will come up through that roofing system and come out of the coating. So they will not guarantee or warranty their coating. And that's another submittal that you give to the building department when you have your permit failed, is that there's moisture. So those are the keys. Now, if you are dealing with an EPDM or a TPO roof, and you can't find any damage on the top, but you feel the roof and you can feel the indentations into the insulation, it's best to do it with your engineer, or you can also use the engineers from SVG, okay? But you want to do at least a 3-foot by 3-foot area, and you want to peel that back. So you're doing a U-shape, a square U-shaped cut. and you're going to peel that product back. Because even though you may not see the damage to the EPDM or TPO on the upper layer, if you know you've got dents, when you peel that layer back, you want to look at it. Now, I recommend you look at it not only with the naked eye, but you also look at it with a magnifying glass, because you want to look for the spider web on the back side or front side. Okay? You want to be looking for that spider web, because that's damage to the product. But you also need the pictures showing the damage to the insulation, because that insulation, the R value is diminished. And you want to get an engineer to see the photos, to see the insulation, and be able to write a report based on how the R factor of that insulation has been diminished. It cannot be heated out. It has to be replaced. So even if the EPDM or TPO has not sustained physical damage to the upper roof section, by the insulation being damaged, the insurance policy covers for that insulation to be turned back to pre-storm condition, which means the only way to do that is to replace the entire roofing system. Those are how you get them bought. You know, it's preparing, getting the failed permits, getting the moisture test, getting the letters from your coatings manufacturers, getting your engineers' reports, compiling your photo logs. It's preparing your evidence and documentation in a way that cannot be disputed. When I'm dealing with shingle roofs, okay, now it's important for me to also research my code, because if I'm doing a commercial roof, before I even meet the adjuster out there, I like to delay things. I like to prepare for my fight. So I'm going to get them signed up on the AOC, or if I'm in Texas, my power of attorney. I'm going to then say, we're going to hold off on calling in this claim because I want to prepare for when I meet this adjuster. I want to have all my ducks in a row. So first off, I'm going to do my complete Xactimate, detailed with no fluff, down to the penny, well organized, well laid out. I'm also going to do my test squares and all facing slopes on all buildings. I'm going to get my document from Hague Engineering. And if you don't have your documents on Hague Engineering on how they explain hail, I will include it. Anybody ask me, I have it. I'll send you the Dropbox link. Okay? I'm also going to go ahead and get my engineering report done. And it's going to cost me $8 to $10 grand. So I'm going to be invested into this property. Because once I meet that insurance adjuster on a memory stick, I'm going to have my Xactimate. I'm going to have all my sub bids, whether there's windows damaged or screens or AC units. I'm going to have my AC contractor come out and evaluate every building. And I'm going to have them write up a detailed report of why they all need to have AC cones or why they need to be replaced. I'm going to make sure that I have my photo logs done, that I have every photograph in there to support my case as if I was going to court. I'm going to have the picture of each building and then the corresponding photographs, all titled and described. I'm going to make sure I have my engineer's report. I'm going to make sure I have my address-specific hail data. And I'm not just going to use the hail providers. I'm also going to go to a NOAA site that I can put the exact address in, and it's going to give me every hail report around it. That way, when I meet the adjuster, on that memory stick is going to be my Xactimate, the true Xactimate, my Eagle View, my photograph logs, my engineering report, all my specialty bids. So as soon as I'm ready, because that may take me a month to get it together. So after a month, I'll then call in the claim because I'm prepared. Okay? Some people will call the claim in before. That just means you're going to have to do a reinspection. But we might as well knock some of this stuff out. Because if you show up on the memory stick, and they also have it printed, but be able to hand that to the adjuster and say, here's everything already done. The engineering report's in here. I got all my expert bids in here. I've got my Hague documents in here. I've got my Eagle Views in here. I've got all the weather reports in here. You're giving that adjuster something that he can work with. You see, adjusters don't just deny to deny. They deny because we haven't given them the proper story to tell their managers to get it approved. So the more prepared that we are by helping that adjuster, and the better we tell our story, it's the better that we're able to present. When I'm dealing with metal, Big thing in Texas is the cosmetic waiver. When I'm dealing with the 5V or standing seam or snap lock, I prepare in a certain way. Now, there are magnifying glasses that you can use with your phone or you can use with your camera. But when I'm looking at the Galvalume or I'm looking at a manufactured color finish, I put magnifying glass up on that metal. Because although I may feel a dent with my finger, and they're going to say, oh, that's cosmetic, that's not legitimate damage. If you put the magnifying glass on there, what you will start to find is hairline fractures in the coating, in the Galvalume, in the metal manufactured color finish. What happens when you get a crack in the coating? It's no longer cosmetic. It's now functional, which means that metal product is going to start breaking down quicker than it would if it wasn't. So when you're preparing these and you're looking at metal, you have to use your magnifying glasses. You have to look at the product and be able to see if there's hairline fractures that are not visible to the eye, or visible by chalk, or visible by touch. It's preparing and learning how to win those arguments and putting together the proper documentation. Now, when you see those hairline cracks, what do? Argue it yourself? No. Get an engineer that will write a simple report about that damage. Not a full-blown report about hail being everywhere, but customized. This is how you do cost-effective engineering reports. So you're not spending thousands of dollars on a residential claim. That you just want a simple report. That you want them to evaluate random hail spots, 7 of them, 10 of them. And that with that magnifying glass on the metal, that they have confirmed there are hairline cracks in the manufactured finish, which constitutes functional damage. Insurance companies can no longer claim cosmetic issues. Cool thing is you can do the same thing on gutters. I hear that in Texas all the time. Cosmetic on gutters. Put a magnifying glass on it. Look for the hairline fracture in it. Hairline fracture in the coating that you can't see with your naked eye. But if you can see it in a magnifying glass and you can see that hairline fracture in the finish of the gutter, guess what? Moisture can get in there. Now it's become a functional issue because the coating is no longer protecting the metal. So when we're looking at the commercial end of preparing for this, and this can be also used on residential, but when I do commercial, I go in all prepared. I have everything well documented. I bind my stuff up so it's prepared for the adjuster. I provide it to them on a key stick. And then there's always your arguments on supplements. I recommend you fight it as far as you can and then pop that bastard into appraisal. Appraisal is how I win a lot of different arguments. If I'm fighting an insurance company on tile, I'll provide them the YouTube video. If you type in hail damage tile roofing, you'll see a case study that has been done on tile that proves that 1-inch hail coming in at a hit just like that fast. What's that? 15 miles an hour? 20 miles an hour? Has the kinetic energy to break the lower right-hand corners of tile. So on a tile roof, when I'm dealing with carriers, I'm going to look at my soft metals, and they may argue my right lower hand corners, but I'm going to have my documentation, I'm going to have my videos, I'm going to have my engineer reports, but my main focus on tile is making sure that my soft metals get paid for and that they cover the tile around my soft metals. Or I'll get them to agree on a couple my valley metals, or I'll get them to agree to a repair on tile. Because before I meet that adjuster, there's a couple things that I'm going to be doing. I'm getting my engineer's report on the tile. I'm getting my weather reports on the property. I'm getting all my photographic logs on my collateral and my roof. I'm also going to pull the tile, flip it over, put some chalk so I get the manufacturer's stamp. I'm going to take a width measurement and a height measurement. Now, you can send that to ABC or Beacon, Send it to your tile reps at your supplier. They will be able to tell you what tile it is if you can't tell from the manufacturer's mark. You want to get a letter on that tile being discontinued. If that tile is discontinued and you have it in a letter form, you want to provide that to the insurance company. Or hell, don't provide it to them until after your first inspection. Get them to commit to roof vents. Get them to commit to a tile repair. Because on your supplement, before you file that supplement, you want to have them commit to some tile, or at least the metal, the roof vents. But if you're doing roof vents, they have to allow for some tile replacement. They have to, because you're going to break some. Okay? But once you get that tile repair and the metal, replacing the roof vents, you want to have your letter from your manufacturers, you want to have your engineer, your NOAA reports, your Eagle View, all your photographs, your full Xactimate done up properly to county code specifications. You also want to file your permit. And in your permit, you're going to file it for a review that you're asking to go against county code. Because doing a repair of tile when the tile is discontinued, that means that the building department will fail that permit because the tile is discontinued. And with that letter saying, this tile is discontinued and we don't recommend you doing any other repairs with any other tile except for our own, we'll get that permit failed. Now remember, when you file your review with the permit office, it doesn't matter if you need a roofing permit or not. You can still file for one. Because you're filing, because there are certain codes that you must follow as a contractor when you have signed for your license. So when you file for that permit, you're going to ask for a review to go against code. You supply all your documents, the engineer's report, the insurance company estimate, the letter from the manufacturer, and they will fail that permit. Now, by them failing that permit, that then gets you back into law and ordinance to get the entire roof bought. And they may not like that. But that's why we got appraisal. If they want to deny your right of appraisal, that's why we got bad faith claims. Colorado is an excellent state and one of the shining examples of a state to be able to do bad faith claims in. They're a 3-time state. That means if I win $1, the insurance company has to pay me $3. So when we look at this and we're putting things together, it's about properly documenting and preparing. You have to look at whether it's residential or commercial. It's not just meeting an adjuster and trying to tell them your knowledge to get things bought. It's about properly documenting and putting your case together to win. Insurance companies will take advantage of contractors because their belief we are stupid. So if we prepare engineering, SVG has a great site for that. Probably one of the most economical ways to get engineering reports done. But I get my engineer's report, I get my photo logs, my Eagle Views, all my weather data. And I'm also getting my weather data from NOAA because it has address-specific reports for free. I'm getting everything compiled. If I need my moisture to prove that there's insulation, if I'm dealing with flat roofs, everything I went over in this video, I'm preparing my documentation and giving it all to the adjuster. The more data I can give that adjuster to help him say yes, help him or her say yes, the better. It's our job to help the adjuster tell their story to get the yes. Because if they don't tell their story right, and they don't have the proper documentation and the proper evidence, and we don't get that to them beforehand, we don't want to wait for their engineer. We want to get it to them right away. We want to be prepared. That adjuster, most of them are cat guys. They make their money on what they write. But they have guidelines. So if we aren't helping them tell their story and giving them the evidence that they need to win and say yes, then we're going to have to fight on the supplement. But by preparing like you're going to court, because that's how you have to think about it, by preparing each claim like you're going to court, by preparing your documentation for when you meet the adjuster will turn around in more yeses than you will see nos. And remember, everything has a strategy. It's a chess game. It's not about winning everything on the first adjustment. That's going to be rare. It's about setting up that claim to be a yes. Tile, I need them to commit to metal, the vents, and I need to commit to a minor repair. Metal roofs, I need to pull out my magnifying glass to beat the cosmetic issue. Flat roofs, if I'm dealing with mod bit, I'm getting them to agree to a coating, as long as I know there's already two roof surfaces on there. Then I'm either going to fight the two surfaces, or I'm going to add in my moisture argument. On shingle, that one is a little different. That one we have to try to win from the beginning. But we need to make sure that on the supplement, we have all our ducks in a row, all the evidence that we need ready to move forward, so that way they know they're going to lose and we can take it to appraisal if needed. Remember, do your code research, know your codes, have them printed off. If you work with other salespeople, or you're a sales manager, or you're a production manager or an owner, having all your codes printed off in a binder at the office, hanging on the walls, part of your CRM system, readily available is what is key. Because by having those codes on hand is what's going to help you win your claims. Codes. Codes are very, very important. Also, beating the insurance company with their own issues is also important. Like I said, cosmetic issues. Metal roofs in Texas, I can get bought all day, every day. Give me your cosmetic waiver. I don't care. The hail was big enough there, and in Florida and in Colorado, if you put a cosmetic exclusion that dents aren't damaged, I'm putting my magnifying glass on that metal dent, whether it be metal roofing or gutters or roof vents. I'm going to put my magnifying glass on there, and I'm going to look for that hairline fracture in the coating, because that hairline fracture in the coating is going to affect the watershed capability and allow me to have functional damage, no longer cosmetic. That's a lot of money in Texas. So, on commercial roofing systems, if anybody ever has a question or you're faced with a dilemma, that's something that I specialize in. I do a lot of appraisals. In Florida, I do appraisals residential, commercial. Out of state, I do them on commercial only. I love commercial flats. I love shingles. I love the argument. Now, I'm not out there pounding doors anymore, but I teach people how to do it. But on the commercial side, if you have questions on how to properly prepare for your argument and how to put it together in the proper presentation so you can explain your position to the adjuster to help the adjuster explain his position on why he's paying for it, and also preparing for the next level fight. Now, please keep in mind, whether it's residential or commercial, when we file supplements, one of the biggest complaints that I hear from everybody that I know is when I file a supplement, I get from the carrier a letter or email or a phone call that the carrier is making to the consumer, where they're recommending a managed repair program contractor or a preferred contractor, that they should leave you and go with them because you're gouging. Before you file a supplement, I don't care if they only paid for a small repair and it's only $5 over the deductible, and that's what they sent the insurance company. Go out there and get your build contract done. Do not put a total on your contract. Put the amount agreed by with insurance. By your supplement area, put TBD, to be determined. And then your total area, put to be determined. Also on your build contracts, put on there all work to be done per insurance company agreement and scope, and that there is a supplement pending on the full claim. Pick up your build contract and first check. Deposit it. Wait 3 days or 5 days, whatever your right of rescission is in your state. And as soon as that right of rescission has expired, you then file your supplement. Why? Because now it doesn't matter if the insurance company says, I got this contractor to use. The consumer is now locked into your contract, and you don't have to worry about somebody trying to come in and steal your job. Just a little advice. If anybody ever has questions on commercial or different things that you're having issues on, please reach out to me. I'd be glad to help anybody that I can. Hit me up on Messenger, send me an email, send me a text. I don't always answer my phone because it never stops ringing, but I will respond to everybody that I can. Not always in a timely fashion, but you will get an answer from me. I hope everybody has a great day, and I hope some of the information that I gave you today helps you. Keep calm and storm on.